back to another week of the show. It is episode 295. It's April 11th, 2022, and I'm here once again with Kyle Klingman in his Larry Bird studio up in Cedar Falls, Iowa. What's up, Kyle? How you doing?
How you doing, man? I'm doing well, and part of the reason I'm doing well is who you chose to have on the show today, which I'm excited about. Big fan of his, and excited about what he's going to be doing for Team USA.
Yeah, exactly. I am too. Let's get into it. It was just kind of announced last week. James Green retires from wrestling and is now the developmental coach at USA Wrestling. James, welcome to the show. How you doing?
I'm good. Always a pleasure being on, talking with you guys.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
You bet. Let's get right into it, right? I don't know if it was Thursday or Friday or Wednesday. I think maybe it was Thursday, but it was late last week, I think. There's a post, James Green retires from wrestling. What? James Green's going to be coaching at USA Wrestling. How did this come about? Were any part of you thinking about retirement, or was it just this opportunity? Give us the lowdown. Congrats, by the way.
It's a combination of a lot of things, and I don't know what you want to call it, universe, timing, opportunity, but as far as the developmental job goes, back when KJ left and they posted the opening, and I remember just sitting with my wife and was like, dang, I wonder who's going to fill that position. I wonder who can do it. And jokingly, she's just like, why don't you do it? And I was just like, nah, I can't do that. I'm still going to be competing. I'm still going to be wrestling. And I don't know if I'm qualified to do that job or whatever, but she's like, yeah, you could definitely do it. And again, that's just us talking. And then I think a couple weeks passed by and I ended up getting a phone call just like from Rich Bender, like, hey, we've been talking and you're one of the guys that we think would be great for this. And I was like, oh, wow. Just to hear that from the guys at USA Wrestling and to think that, I'm wanted and they feel like I could lead that position. That was pretty cool, pretty amazing. So, then it starts crossing my mind like, dang, maybe, why not me? Why wouldn't I be able to do this? But yeah, obviously I still want to compete. So just over the course, and this is before the new year, so it's been a while, just kind of on my head and on in the air. And I did my thing. I went to Urigan. I went to Istanbul, and I wrestled, and obviously training and everything's going well. But I always had these little injuries, these little things that been bothering me. And I've always had my year-to-year checkups and whatnot. And as we got closer, or actually after the Zayn match, it was kind of getting crunch time. They're like, hey, we're still thinking about you. Let us know if this is an opportunity. And at this time, I was actually kind of, a little injury was bothering me. And I was just like, man, let me go get this thing checked out. And I went to go get it checked out. And it was just kind of one of those things where, I could wrestle. Clear, I could still wrestle. I was in practice the other day, coaching and whatnot. But as far as putting in the effort and the grind that it takes to be an Olympic champion, it would be kind of selfish to my family and my body to put myself through that. And there's always the what ifs of the world, but with the opportunity that actually made me sit down and like, what is life without wrestling, And before the opportunity presented itself, I was always like, oh, I'm just going to wrestle until I can't anymore and then go into coaching. And if I'm already feeling like this, if I would have grinded myself down, would I have been able to even coach? And I want to be an active coach. I want to be on the mat with my guys and on the mat with whoever is sharing the sport. I love the sport of wrestling. I want to be around it as long as possible. And it was just one of those things like, I can either grind myself out and then kind of be done with the sport and watch from afar, or continue to be in it, share my knowledge, be around it, and have fun while I'm not doing it. Not just one of these old guys walking around the tournaments, limping around. So, yeah, I sat down with my wife and we talked about it and weighed the options, and um, I decided that it'd be best to just take this opportunity and get my feet wet in the coaching, and we'll see how it goes from there. Really.
Okay. A couple things, I guess. First, you said you went to the doctor and you just kind of glanced over. I don't know if there was much to it, but you said I had a little injury. What was that?
Well, so I mean, for people that follow me or whatever, I've had my hip surgery back in 2017, and that's always been a thing. So as far as like that, when I would always go get checkups, and I was heading in the right direction as far as, obviously I was still wrestling. No medals or anything like that, but I was still wrestling. Still wrestling, still competing at a high level, and it was always just kind of one of those things where, I'm going to get back to where I was before 2017. And then when I first moved to Virginia Tech, I was actually doing very well as far as my progress and where that was. And then I'm not sure what exactly happened or where, but it just kind of almost went the other way a little bit. So again, this is before I was just having these little feelings as far as I think I might have messed it up again or something's wrong. And it was just like, let me go get it checked out. And honestly, without the opportunity, I probably wouldn't have gone in. I would have just been like, let me just rehab and do what I've been doing. So it was kind of, again, timing, and I'm happy the opportunity was there, because if I would have kept going, it just wouldn't have been good for when I was done. So
what did they say? Just basically that, like, you can keep going, but you're just going to grind your hip down, or?
Well, the surgery I had on my right hip, I had tore my labrum, and then over that course I damaged my cartilage. So before I went in, I was like bone on bone in my hip.
Yeah.
So they go in, repair the labrum, and then they drill. I had like 2 microfractures to reproduce cartilage, and I was on the way. I was showing signs of cartilage back, and that was pretty good. And then this past one, like, all that cartilage was gone, so I was back to bone on bone. And so it's, again, I wouldn't have went in. I just kind of knew that something was a little off, and obviously I could wrestle. I wrestled Zane or whatever. But yeah, it's just one of those things. Like, before I got the surgery, I know how I was feeling, and that's obviously I went in. But to be, kind of bone on bone, it's just like, I don't want to grind it down and really cause some damage. And I got 2 kids. I could still wrestle. I already know, if I get surgery, I know what that rehab is like. And I ain't trying to be doing that. My 3-year-old, she don't even know what surgery is. She's gonna be jumping on me, put me right back in. But they offered to kind of go in and clean it up again. I was just like, nah, it's all right. I can go on. I can still do what I have to do and have fun. So really, USA Wrestling's like, oh, you're gonna compete, and I was just like, well, I want to compete. Let me go see how I'm feeling, how everything is, and that's what it was. So it made it a lot easier to be like, okay, I could be happy about this. I'm not gonna feel like I missed anything, And as I put in my post, I gave it my all. I'm not sure how long I was actually wrestling like that. So that's the crazy thing, with the kind of injury, it's hard to tell. And again, it was always one of those things that's been there. But yeah, now to actually know and see it is, I can be happy.
Yeah. Okay, and now back to the job. Like, Rich called and said you're one of the people we've considered. Was that like a job offer? So whenever you decided hey, I do want to do this? It was like yes, or then did you have to go to I don't know, go to a Zoom, an interview, go to Colorado or anything, or was it just like we
Yeah,
want you
no.
to
So
cool?
I did the whole process again. Like, I sent in an application. We've been in talks. I met with them Zoom, and just kind of back and forth like any other job.
Yeah,
So yeah, there was a whole process, and it was you know again another opportunity. So I honestly don't, as far as the timing and stuff goes, it was just, it worked out very well for me, honestly. Because again, like I said, just thinking about life after wrestling, and we always talk about the athlete transfer portal, but we don't talk about the coaches portal. So, it's just like this opportunity presented itself, and I'm glad it was available.
yeah, that's fantastic. So with this, you'll be moving to Colorado Springs, I would imagine.
Yep. Yep. So I'll be heading out to Colorado Springs. No, it's great. I've been going there since I was in college, and don't have to necessarily be out there right away. So that's nice. There's no really rush on it, especially with the wrestling picking up. But yeah, we'll be, looking to get out there hopefully by June, and then yeah, get things started. So with the job, you do all the age level stuff, and I'll be going out to the U.S. Open just to see those cadets and those juniors that are wrestling out there, and shake some hands and meet some new people, and try and get familiar with these upcoming guys, which I know we have a lot of, and I'm really excited about that because I know these younger kids are getting better a lot faster, and they're looking to take the trips and get their experience on the international scene. So it's always fun, young, eager, and the desire to win. So
Sure. And I guess you brought up timing with the hip, right? And this opportunity, and also like all that's like, this isn't a job that comes open every year or every 2 or 3 years. It's like the timing has to be right because if you pass it up now, whoever
right.
takes it's probably gonna, well, very well could still be there when you retire and you look to get into any side of coaching.
Yeah. So that, I mean, honestly, that's what, I sat down with my wife, and, again, talking about that kind of coaching portal, looking over the landscape of college wrestling, and even at the RTC levels, the NCAA had that new proposal. So there's just a lot of things going, happening around the wrestling world. And for this opportunity to be open for them to, reach out to me and offer it to me and say that, they're interested. Yeah, again, made me think about life when I'm done wrestling and the opportunities that would be there. And I obviously, I think I would have gotten a lot of opportunities, which I did once I made my announcement before USA Wrestling kind of posted. My inbox was filling up. I was definitely getting some messages. But you never know what that would be like at 2 or 4 years, when I had planned on being done. So
Yeah. Hey, I mean, I'm sure you had thought about your future to some degree. Did you just kind of assume it's a pretty similar or a pretty regular thing, right? You move into college coaching. Was that
right.
kind of where you thought you would land?
Well, prior to my move to, Virginia Tech, I was real content, like, oh, I'm gonna be wrestling. I'm gonna wrestle as long as I can,
Yep.
just keep going overseas, doing all these trips, trying to win medals. And
Yep.
then once I'm done, I'm just gonna be into coaching, like, oh, why wouldn't I get into coaching? Obviously I want to do it. And then you kind of get around. I was around Nebraska. I've been around here, and you see, the ins and outs of college coaching, and it's a lot. Not just the wrestling, but the administrative part and the recruiting, and I mean, obviously it's folk style. And right now, I always said that I wanted to have my own club, and that's where I was kind of leaning towards. While I was here, I was trying to look for a place and possibly get some, mats in the room, start my own thing. I love working with kids and younger wrestlers. They're more impressionable,
Yep.
And again, so I'm literally doing all this. It's crazy because just to go back on the timing, I think like 2 weeks 2 weeks before I got the call, I was like looking at a place to rent for, a club. So all these things are going on, all these moving parts. And, when you kind of, KJ was there before, it's kind of something that's already set in stone. So I don't really have to um, do too much as far as me wanting to have my own club. So I think it's a little next level of that. And it's not college wrestling, it's not folk style, it's freestyle, which I love and enjoy at the moment. And I think that's where we are heading as a country. If you could, as you can tell, we have a lot of. Last year we won, I think, the most medals across all age levels since I don't even the history of USA Wrestling. So we're on the rise and on the international scene, and I'm glad that I get a chance to be a part of it.
Sure. And I was going to say you're going to get to do lots of international travel now, but really you're just going to continue, right? You've been doing international travel for 7 years or something like that.
Yeah.
It'll be a little bit different, right? Because you won't be cutting weight
Mm-hmm.
and competing. But like just the international travel itself, what do you like about it? What may be challenging?
Well, you get to just experience different cultures, see different places, meet new people, and not just the coaches that are on the teams that are traveling, but even when you go overseas and you're rubbing shoulder, you see a lot of these foreign wrestlers. Yes, we're competitive, but there's a lot of knowledge being shared before the matches or before the tournaments, before or after the tournaments. There's a lot of times to just kind of sit down and talk wrestling, and it's definitely one thing that I enjoy at the moment, and also the team bonding aspect, right? It's Team USA versus whoever's out there. So I enjoy that aspect as while I was a competitor, and I know that these young kids and wrestlers coming up, that's what they're looking to do. They want to compete against the best in the world, and I think it'll be very interesting just to kind of coach and share my experience and watch them on their journey. Because I think back to my first university world team. Bill Zadig was the coach. He was a guy. So now he's the, Olympic head coach. And I've been to every championship I've been to. Bill was there. So those kind of relationships you build over the time of traveling internationally just go a long way. And yeah, I look forward to it. Now, as far as like you said, I'm still doing the same thing, so it's not going to be a shock on my family, so to say, as far as traveling and being away. And I'm thankful for my wife; she understands and she's happy for me. She really wanted me to do this and thought it would be a great idea. So, I appreciate her, making the move from the Midwest, and now we're going back. So, she's great.
Awesome. Now, your position, you'll be very influential on a lot of kids, right? What kind of influence have your coaches had on you? And I'm sure different coaches have had different influences, but just kind of thinking about how you're going to be impacting these kids' lives, I'm curious about how maybe some of your coaches have impacted yours.
Man, obviously, well, not even coach, but we did the story on Bob. He's
Bob.
one of the he's one of the first people I called and kind of talked about where my head was and what do you think, and I appreciate everything he's done for me. So I think just kind of being around him and seeing that not only did he take a chance or believe in me, but I wasn't the only wrestler he's done that with. Taking to different wrestling events, trying to get them in front of the best people, and just trying to show them the right path to take and what to do, what not to do. So I definitely give a lot of appreciation and gratitude towards Bob, and then even to before that, the Scott and family in Willingboro, they're the ones who got me started. They showed me what this world of wrestling was like, and again, we've had number of kids around who didn't even think they should be wrestling or could wrestling, and I was one of them. So to have that instilled in me that everything's possible as long as you put in the hard work. I think that took me a long way. And also I think I was, I gotta give a shout out to Brian Snyder, and Coach Manning. They really influenced me a lot at Nebraska, and being around them. Even though I was stubborn at times, I learned a lot of lessons from them. Uh, Not only how to be an athlete, but be a person, be a human being outside of wrestling. And yeah, I definitely got to tip my hat off to Brian Snyder. He always told me, like, I had the ability to lead no matter if I liked it or not. And I didn't like that idea just because, me, I'm more reserved. I didn't really speak up. So, yeah, I just kind of kept gravitating towards that, and being in a room with a bunch of different coaches. You see the things that work, you see the things that don't work, and you just keep that in your back pocket, and you share what makes you work, what makes the things you like to do work. And I honestly, I can't speak. I could say all the things I can about myself, and just thinking about when I made the post and uh, everyone kind of shouting out, I think they speak for me, as far as what I bring to the table and the things that will be happening at USA Wrestling. So it's been a good couple days of reflecting and just talking to people. So yeah, sorry to go on, but I honestly I could keep talking. So
Yeah. Okay. Well, you said you're reserved, and when Brian Snyder said he's a leader whether or not he wants to be, and you kind of maybe right. And you said these people who are saying all these things on social media for me, they're saying it for me. I don't have to say it, but when it gets into the room, you do have to do the talking, right?
Yeah.
What kind of coach do you see yourself in the room? Yeah, because you can't be quiet anymore.
Right. No, well, I'm obviously it's just this is like talking to my wife. She's like, she's seeing all these comments like, wow, you do all this stuff in the room, because she doesn't see me working. But obviously in the wrestling room, it's definitely different. And it's easy to get your message across when you're in it. And I think honestly that's another reason I kind of felt like I had to get into this coaching role, and like I wanted to be an active coach and get on the mat and still roll around with these guys. But it's everyone's different, every athlete's different. And I think when you sit down on a personal level, you get to kind of figure out what makes them go, what makes them be the best selves. And I think for me, I do best when it's a lot of one-on-one time, or just kind of figuring out a person, just because yeah, everyone's not going to be the loudest in the room, and everyone's might be quiet, but they have a lot to say. So just getting to know whoever's going to be out at the OTC with me, as far as staying there and a part of the program. I think it'll be great just to get to know the individual. And I think that's what I'm looking forward to the most, as far as being a coach, just to understand and socialize with other individuals. So I think I'm definitely can lead by example. In the room, I'm definitely not going to be yelling. You don't have to yell at anybody to get a message across. But it's definitely going to be fun. There's going to be time for fun, and there's going to be time for work. And the athletes will know the difference just in the tone. So yeah, light, happy, and easy going, I'd say. But when it's time to work, it will definitely be putting in the work.
Maybe, and back to coaching college versus coaching the developmental kids. I feel like there's even a difference. Is like the developmental kids are like the top of the top, and the college
Right.
kids, you got some knuckleheads sprinkled in there.
Yeah,
And there's
yeah,
like part of
yeah.
it's like wrangling and like keeping on top of kids, whereas you probably have the most motivated 16,
Right.
17, 18-year-old kids in the country, right? 19.
Yeah. I agree, because like you said, you got at colleges 30, 35 kids that are in there. And it's tough to know that, okay, 10 people are going to start, and um I'm just coming here. Some people, I might just be a body. They're not taking it as serious. every day as a starter might be, or even outside the wrestling room. And that can be troublesome for a team. So, you got to have buy-in across 30 to 35 people, not just 10 guys. And that's not how it always goes. And I'm not saying that I don't like that challenge, but to, like you said, when you're at the Olympic Training Center and you have 8 to 10 guys that are bought in and they know why they're there, um, and just the Olympic Training Center itself, it's a different kind of energy. It's
Yeah.
you know why you're there, you know what you need to do, you know what you want to do. Even as myself, whenever we had training camps there, it's just a different vibe. You're like, man, I'm here to get better. It's going to be a great time. And I think as an athlete, as a coach, you feed off that energy when you know everyone in here is bought in. So, yeah, I think that's how I could sum it up as far as those developmental kids that are going to be willing to put in the work. I know they're going to want to be there, and they know that I want to be there. So you can grow tremendously just off of that aspect alone.
Are you going to be looking to, I don't know if recruit's the right word, but offer opportunities for kids to come live there and do what Kyle Snyder did? Is that a thing you guys will be trying to do?
Yeah. So that's definitely the program. And you look at the Aaron Brooks, Greg Kirkley, Kyle Snyder. They all spent some time out there, and just look what they've been doing in college, and that's the opportunity that we will be presenting to any kid who wants to live the dream or follow the Olympic dream, and hopefully get them started on the right path as far as international experience goes. So yeah, I believe as far as me talking with USA Wrestling, they already had a couple kids. I'm not sure who that were showing interest. So and KJ kind of set up and still has some context going into this year. So I think kind of this year will be more just filling in that spot. And then the schedule's already, we're going into the thick of it. They're already going to be making the teams. And um, I'll just be kind of almost showing up and then doing the practices and whatnot. But as far as getting to know how the program, the ins and outs, I think that's what will be the big part of this year. And then next year we kind of put my spin on it and get to talk to some different kids and get them in there and yeah, hopefully get them started.
One bad thing back to like the international travels and this and that and now, and while they're maybe 16 or 17 and they're the most dedicated or highly motivated kids in the country, some of them maybe haven't been outside the country ever. So you may be
Right.
taking them on their first experience to a really foreign place. What was your first international experience like? Who was around, and how do you see like dealing with these kids who might be brand new to it?
Well, my first trip again, Bill was my first national team coach. I was on a university team and we had a great team. Me, David Taylor, Nico Megaludis, Ed Roof, Terrell Fortune. Just yeah, I mean
Yeah.
a great team. And we actually ended up doing Andy Andy Rovat was our like kind of our one of the coaches, and he ended up getting us able to go. I think we went to Vladikavkaz for a week before the World Championship. So that was my experience. We went up, we're in the mountains. We did a training camp, and just the whole time difference, the time change, wrestling foreigners. Actually, on that trip, I got to, which was an honor to wrestle and roll around with Kudakov before he passed. So, like I was saying, just being able to talk and learn wrestling before you compete or after you compete, I think that goes a long way. And yeah, you get to know the culture differences, and then we went from there to Kazan, where the world champions or where the world games were, and I had a great time. I think when you have, I named those guys. You see where they're at now, national champs, and David Olympic world champ. Um, I think when you have the right kind of guys, again, who are motivated, want to be there, that makes the trip a lot more fun because you're trying to win medals. You're likely to win medals. And then when you're exploring, good Team USA always does a good job of having someone that's either, your team leader, ambassador, so to speak, and knows the area or can help navigate the area. So you're always going to be in good hands. You're not going to be out of your element. We're going to try and make it as close to home as possible as far as resources and food. Um, and I mean, shoot, now technology has come a long way in that regard.
Mm-hmm.
I think I spent a lot of times outside in the hallway or the lobby just trying to get Wi-Fi, and now it's Wi-Fi is everywhere. So I know these kids like to stay on their phones. So yeah, it's you're definitely always kind of well taken care of. They do a lot of preparations to make it as easy as possible. So I think when you're looking for at the competition aspect and getting somewhere else, you have to definitely juggle the two, and you have the opportunity to go explore, so to say, your new area. And I think that's always a great thing to look forward to as a competitor, to take your mind off the wrestling. So
Yeah, no, exploring foreign places is always a lot of fun, whether before or after the wrestling.
yeah.
And we're kind of winding down James here, but I'm gonna bring in Kyle Klingman. He's got a little game for you. He's gonna throw some questions at you.
Oh man, let's go.
First, yeah, I want to know first though from you, 2017 World Championships. You're part of that team championship. It's what you're always aspiring to do. What do you remember about that and being part of that historic moment?
Man, I mean, besides my finals match, I remember because it came down to Snyder, and we were all in the back, and they had the TVs up playing the match, and I believe it was, whatever. It's the final minute. We're watching, and then it's getting time's winding down, and then I think about 30 seconds left. I don't know. The TV just cut out, and we're all like, "What?" We all just started running, trying to find we were trying to head out to the arena so we could catch the last moments. And yeah, Kyle obviously ended up winning, and it was obviously that was just great, just to be in that atmosphere, to be a part of it, and everybody's jumping up and down. But that was kind of a crazy couple seconds when the TV went black. But it was fun. I think that was an awesome time. I'll never forget it.
Wait, did you did you find the tunnel and get in the arena and see it, or did the TV turn back on, or did you miss it?
No, there was like one more. You know how they have you in a loading area? I think that's the TV that was on. But the TVs that were kind of in the warm up area shut off, and went out.
Okay.
And we ran to the loading area, and they had the TV on. So it was crazy.
Good to know.
And then what was the response to the documentary Who is James Green when that came out? What kind of feedback did you get?
Feedback from people, or
Yeah, people that
I mean, people were supportive. They had obviously no idea that is what I did growing up as far as getting on the trips, or how I even came about to wrestling. So I got a lot of support in that aspect, and a lot of thank yous on showing that you can keep going and put in the work. So I got a lot of more respect. I feel like, because obviously no one ever knows really the backstory, or how anyone got to where they be. It's not always, sunshine and roses. So for them to see that, I think it was just more of appreciation for myself and those that were involved in my life.
Awesome. Now we're gonna make you sweat it out. It's our game called Sweat It Out. I have 5 questions, hoping to make you
Let's
sweat.
get
Are
it.
you ready? All right. Number 1, what Pittsburgh Steelers player was featured in the Coca-Cola iconic 1979 advertisement?
Dang, so I would say the bus, maybe. That's what he was a big no?
No, it's 1979, so he's way before that.
Oh, 1970. I thought you said 1997.
No.
Is it would it be Cole? He was I don't know.
No.
Who is it?
His name is Mean Joe Green.
Mean Joe Green. Oh God. Wow. Now that you say it, I'm like, wow. I wouldn't have guessed that though. Go ahead.
All right. Number 2, name both colleges where Mark Manning was a student athlete.
UNO, Nebraska. Yeah, UNO, Nebraska, and did he go to Nebraska?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Yep. Nebraska and Nebraska Omaha. You got it. All right.
Mhm.
Number 3. Who wrote the book? Who wrote the book Green Eggs and Ham?
Dr. Seuss,
Yep. Number 4. What Big Ten program uses green as a school color?
Michigan State.
Yep. And then number 5. Mark Bader moves to Colorado Springs and asked you to develop him. What would day 1 look like of that process?
If it's Mark Bader specifically, I'm making him run the incline.
I like
Let's
that
go.
answer.
I'm in.
I like
I'm in.
that answer.
When's the last time you did the incline?
I've never
James?
done it.
You've never done it because of the hip? Or did they just stop doing it then?
Pretty much because of that. I just never, prior to when I first started going out there, it was in 2013, and I was just like, nah, this ain't for me. I'd get to a point, I've been up, like I walked it and snaked it, but I've never run it. So JB was always trying to get me to run. I'm like, nah, I'm not doing it. I held the time. I was a timekeeper.
I ran it once all the way to the top, and then I've been on it a couple times with the camera. I'll do it again. I'll do it again. Well, James, I don't know. That's pretty much everything I got. Thanks for coming on. Even as we were sitting here doing this interview, I was like, this is crazy. I used to watch James when he was wrestling and like the Iron Man, and I kind of got to know him. And I see him go through college and on the Olympic, or the world and Olympic scene, and like little 16-year-old James Green's now the developmental coach, and
Crazy.
it's been a trip. Like watch you grow up, I guess. And it's been awesome. Yeah, go ahead.
You asked me if I was going to be doing that. I would tell you I have no idea. Who was that? Oh, Bucks, and I said I'm a long way away from falling asleep at Fargo. So,
oh, you got to keep that message to the kids. Don't fall asleep at Fargo. If you do, set an alarm.
Right.
Awesome. Well, James, thanks for coming on, man. Any parting words before we let you go?
Appreciate it. You guys have a good one.
Thanks, man. You too. Take it easy. All right, James Green. That's exciting. I mean, he could. I mean, he's young. He's young. He could have that job for a long time if he wants, probably. It's gonna be exciting to see him develop kids and be a big influence on their lives. I'm sure he's gonna do a fantastic job.
He is gonna do a fantastic job. Great demeanor. He's fun to be around, and just enjoy any interview that he's a part of. So I'm really happy for him.
Yeah. So that's going to do it for today's show. For Kyle Klingman and James Green, I'm Mark Bader. We'll see you next time. Thanks.